We continue on into day 6. So this is the next week. This is week 2 of filming, and we head into day 6, which is all night shoots. Okay, the entire week was done from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Okay, very late nights, very long nights, as they're shooting in Texas completely overnight all week here. So we see the first night of the week of night shoots, and then we get Adam, as he says, about to be a bunch of these, night 4. This is earlier on here. I think I have this a little bit out of order, but we see this. We're going to see a lot of this. So I wanted to point this out early. We see a lot of Pharisees, of course. And where are they? This location shows us right here that they are currently in front of the gate to Caiaphas's compound. Okay, Caiaphas's palace is massive. It's a large, large building. And here we have all the Pharisees kind of gathering in front of it here.
I forget.
We got some cool shops and some different sets being set up here.
Yes. Hey, guards.
I didn't cut off the end of that ad there on Instagram. Here is night number 5 here as they're getting into this week. You can see the same setup. But then you see Akis as he has an app, I think, on his phone. A lot of cinematographers will do this, where they have an app on their phone and then they select the correct lens that they're going to use, so they can get a roundabout idea of what it's going to look like before they actually shoot the shot, to make sure it's lined up exactly how they want it to be. So you see all this plywood here on this large platform that's overlooking Caiaphas's palace. And then as we go over, we see John and Peter as they are looking toward Caiaphas's palace. Why would they be looking towards Caiaphas's palace? Because this is where Jesus is going to be, right? After he's arrested and all that happens. See another side of this scene here. Now we see an interesting shot here. We get Dallas giving us all the Pharisees and all the people kind of going into Caiaphas's compound here. In the middle of them, of course, we see Judas himself. If you cannot see, I'll kind of make it bigger for you guys. We see Judas there right in the center of this setup right there. I hate resizing this. It's so annoying. I don't think I can just undo it. All right. Here we go. But because I love you guys so much, I will resize it every time if I need to. All right. Continuing on. We got Dallas and Mitch here looking over some scripts. Again, another shot of this set here. Looks beautiful. Now, this is a little bit of a zoom in here. All we hear is the word Jesus, so that we know Jesus is part of this scene for sure. We don't know exactly when this is or what is happening here. You can see the screen a little bit. You can see someone moving on that screen, but not much beyond that. It might be Malchus, as far as I can tell. It's hard to say. They're having to get really creative with the lighting in this season because the everything is at night. Like most of the season is at nighttime, and so it's really dark. You have to figure out how to get good lighting because you can't just film in blackness, right? Well, the Pharisees there again.
Action on rehearsal.
And here we have the other side of John and Peter as they're looking towards Caiaphas's palace. So you see them wearing the same things that they wore during the night when Jesus was arrested or betrayed at the end of season 5. Clearly this is that same day. The whole entire thing of season 6 is 24-hour period. And then we see some lighting here. It looks pretty beautiful as they go through. Then we get another image of Caiaphas's palace. The This is day 6. We see John here looking through a gated doorway into Caiaphas's compound here. We see some of the temple guard as well as Malchus. Now, Malchus is a really interesting one here because at this point, Malchus would have already had his ear cut off and then put back on by Jesus. So very interesting that we're seeing him here. Of course, he becomes a very important person, which we'll talk about in a second here as we get into this next section. But Malchus, of course, is looking out for what is going to be happening here. He's either guarding the front of this gate or he's making sure that some people arrive that are supposed to be here. So we see people outside as well. If we go back here, we can see these people that are sitting outside.
What's on Malchus here? We'll go again.
So I can't tell if that's Coffney or not. It doesn't really look like Coffney's group a ton. Of course it could be. I don't think so, though. It doesn't really look like Coffney's group to me. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying today's video, then I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to support us even further, you can go to snipesupport.com and see a bunch of extra content over there on our Patreon. For $5, $10, or $25 a month, you can see things like this. Here's a little bit of a sneak peek from our 10 questions video with Dallas Jenkins. I get to sit down with the creators of 3 of the biggest biblical productions of 2025. John Schaefer and Tom Bancroft, the creators of Light of the World, which is an animated project coming out in September of this year. Then, of course, House of David with John Irwin. That is an amazing show about the life of David and him fighting Goliath in this first season. Then, of course, the man himself, Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, the worldwide phenomenon. If you haven't seen it already, we've done interviews with each of these guests, but this is a special video where I asked them 10 specific questions and see how their responses differ from each other. This was very interesting for me as an interviewer to be able to see their different answers even to the same questions that I'm asking them, the different perspectives that they have. I absolutely know that you guys are going to enjoy this as well, so let's get into this without further ado. Here's question number 1. If you're interested in that video, you can go over to snipesupport.com and see a bunch of other stuff, thousands of hours of extra content over there, and we'd love to have you as part of the community. All right, let's get back to the video. But here we have a post from George. This one was actually really funny to me. We have this post from George, of course, John, who is looking through this gated doorway that we just saw him at. And actually, Judas is on the other side. We already saw that he's in the courtyard of Caiaphas's house. And so he's looking into the courtyard, and we see as Judas actually comes up to him to talk to him, which is going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, we don't see this in the Bible. The last interaction that he ever has with the apostles is at the Last Supper. We don't really see Judas at any of these locations. We assume that he took the money and ran, right? He didn't want to be here during any of it. He didn't want to be at Caiaphas's house. He didn't want to be with the other apostles. He would have been very much afraid, right? But in the show, we see him here interacting with John, which is really funny. And then later that day, John used some AI here to kind of take out the Judas of the situation here, which I thought was hilarious. I guess he thought it was too much of a spoiler or something. And so he took out Luke from the image to make it so it's just John in here. And so, of course, though, we screenshotted it before he could delete it. So, so we've got both here. So you can go back and see the other one that we had. See Judas and no Judas here. We got Adam Drake in the house. Beautiful, beautiful. And then here's another one from Drake. We see a bunch of people in the courtyard here. A bunch of people outside that are waiting to look in and see what's happening. Mitch Hudson. Zooming into Alan, who is kind of the set designer. He helps to kind of make sure everything's laid out in the way that it should be for the set. And then we got someone up in the crane up here, kind of hiding behind the light, which I think is hilarious.
Action.
Now here we see Malchus and John who are going into the courtyard. What is John up to? Well, all of us Bible readers should know exactly what's happening here. John had some sort of in to the court of Caiaphas within the scriptures. We knew that whenever Malchus was introduced for John in season 5, of course that was going to be his connection. So Malchus gets his ear chopped off by Peter, then Jesus heals it. That's going to, of course, change Malchus and do something for him. We're also going to know that Malchus is going to see John with Jesus as a follower of his. And so because Malchus already has a connection to John, they're already sort of friends back from season 5, we're going to have a connection for Malchus to be the person to invite him in to be a part of what is happening in the courtyard of Caiaphas. And of course, this is not only going to allow John in, but also Peter, which we're going to see a little bit later as well.
You shouldn't be here. Not your beer.
So he says, you shouldn't be here. And then John kind of snaps back a little bit. We're seeing all of the Pharisee within the courtyard now.
So you guys, instead of coming down here, you guys will go to those 2 side doors.
And we see Judas here as well.
And then Martin
And Malchus.
Rehearsing, you guys will come down and go to where these 2 are. All right.
Now here we get another view of the people that are around. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of extras, like a bunch of random people we don't really know. A bunch of Pharisees who we don't really know. And Sadducees and the like. I think that's Sylvia. Sylvia is a part of the community for sure. She's in a lot of these scenes in the behind the scenes as an extra for The Chosen. She's been there for a long time, so you could always recognize her.
Not very good at my job, but I sure am expensive.
So here is some sort of remote camera that they're going to use to get a specific shot, which is going to be pretty cool. I wonder what that's going to look like or what that's for, because they don't normally use things like this.
Oh, Picasso's Guernica.
All right. And then we got camera wrap on day 7 here from Adam Drake. They always have a little bit of a party with all the lights here. I wonder who's the person that's in charge of that specifically. That's a question I definitely have. Now, remember, the outside of Caiaphas' house is just a facade. The actual location of his palace is not there. It doesn't exist. It's actually a set inside one of the sound stages here in Texas. And so they're shooting all the outside stuff, the exterior stuff, and then they'll go inside the set and shoot the interior stuff for Caiaphas' house probably later on, because I haven't seen any of that actually happen here, and I think they're about to go to Utah. Beautiful set here, beautiful day as they're getting done with the day there.
Victor, 226.
Now here we got a little bit behind the scenes from day 7 here.
Take 1, 2 cam. Mark.
We see Judas kind of hiding off to the corner there. If you can see him just barely kind of hiding right here, kind of behind a bunch of these Pharisees. And then we move closer and we get our first shot. You can just barely see him, but Jesus is in there, kind of in front of the temple guard here. And again, you can see that blue screen through the doorway. Why? Because nothing exists in there. It just doesn't exist. So.
Coffee.
And so we hear there the word Coffney from Dallas, which is interesting. Means that Coffney's group has to be there, but we haven't seen him in any behind the scenes shots so far. We also know that Coffney was there at the betrayal of Jesus in the show. So of course it's going to make sense that he would be here as well. We're going to see a big crane movement here as we look towards the temple guard, the front of Caiaphas' house. And then here's Adam Drake kind of sneaking behind it in order to make sure he gets a good view, make sure that he can see the crane not hitting anybody, which would be a great thing. We see Coffney over there, as well as the person who I believe may be Rama's brother over here. You can see him in the corner. The crane kind of shifts from going to Coffney to then going to Peter here. And we're going to get a better view of this in just a second. We see Peter sneaking in. Remember, how does he get in here? He only gets in because of John. And this is right before he's going to deny Jesus 3 times. See Jelaine there on set. It's really early in the morning, 3:43. You would not catch me there for sure. I am way too much of a I guess I'd be fine. I'm a night owl for sure. I guess that would be better than me waking up at like 5 a.m. to go into work. I would rather stay up till 3:43, I guess. Now here we have a stand-in. This is not a new Jesus. Here we've got a stand-in for someone here. Maybe Peter, maybe Jesus, someone else here.
Grab them? No. You're over there? That's where you're sitting.
And then here we've got a bunch of the background people. A lot of these people you're going to recognize if you've watched the show over and over and over again. They've been pretty much everywhere in the show. And you see Adam there. I feel like he did a strategic lifting up of the camera so that we didn't see specific people. But then he brings it back down there. And here is another shot of that crane shot that we go through. See Coffney over there with his family. And then we see Peter sneaking out. We're gonna see this again from a different angle here in a second. As we're looking through these big cranes holding up all these lights and stuff. Pretty
Peter.
Crazy. So here we see Coffney has just gone, and now they're going to call out Peter. And you can see the shot looks great. Boom.
Oh, perfect.
You can see Peter there as he's standing in the back, kind of covering his head. He doesn't want to be seen as a follower of Jesus at this moment, right? And he's about to deny Jesus 3 times right before this, right after this happens.
So good.
And so they have a little bit of a raccoon friend here in Caiaphas' house, which I think is hilarious.
There he goes.
A little bit of behind the scenes of the camera equipment. I guarantee you this is $1 million, if not more, that you're seeing right here. This is a lot of money on these cameras. See a huge crane shot again.
Stay back then.
Now here we've got Judas off to the corner. This is Dallas on day 9. We've got Judas over here in the corner, kind of off to himself as he's kind of hiding behind the Pharisee again, like we saw in the previous shot. Now this is the first time that we properly see Jesus in this shot as well. We have the temple guard as well as the Pharisees as they're coming through.
Luke, take a small step forward.
And we see Jonathan there as Jesus, surrounded by the temple guard as they are headed into Caiaphas' house.
Dallas, you're at the shot.
I'm aware.
It is Hawaiian Friday.
Let's go.
Chicken rope, but on the set. Here we are. What day is it, Mitch?
It's Friday.
Friday. What? I meant what?
What day of the week?
Day 8.
Day 9.
Friday.
Oh, 9.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's been a night shoot week.
I don't know what day it is.
So the Hawaiian Shirt Friday, they wear different outfits and different stuff like that. So Hawaiian Shirt Fridays is this day here. Beautiful stuff.
So, Danny, as soon as you get that last shipment of cast in,
Shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
And so there they are with the big torches here. These are for the temple guard here as well, as they kind of go through. Let's see, not much left in this week, but we got some funny moments with Danny and the boys, of course, as they're having a little bit of a moment there. And then we get one last thing from Dallas as he kind of shares about the live stream and what they're doing there.
Hey, right now I'm on the set of season 6. We're filming right now. Look at this. Look what's all behind me. All right, we've got a big live stream for you, though, this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. You've got some burning questions about season 5. If you've seen it, I've got some answers for you. If you haven't seen it, don't worry. We've got plenty of non-spoiler stuff for you as well. And we are also going to be talking about season 6. I'm going to show you some behind the scenes, like what you're seeing right now.
Yep. So you guys can see that. Go check out the live stream if you haven't already. Then if we jump over to the live stream, actually, we can see some interesting things that he actually shared here near the beginning of the live stream. Let me get to that. Here it is. So here's some more behind the scenes stuff here, which we'll go through right now.
Questions about season 5, don't go anywhere.
We're back.
Behind the scenes look at season 6.
Here we go.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back. Yes, we're back. We are back.
So mainly who we've seen as characters so far has been the Romans. So Pilate, Atticus, Zebediah. We've seen John and Peter. We've seen Jonathan as Jesus, but not really, not a ton. Obviously Claudia, Joanna. But we haven't seen a ton more than that. You can even see in this beginning section, there's not a ton of people that you're kind of seeing here.
Check out this behind the scenes look at season 6.
We're back.
So Chris and Jelaine,
We're back.
Dallas, Zebediah. There's Judas, Atticus, Peter and John.
We are back.
And then here we have Pilate and looks like Claudia, maybe Joanna? No, I think that's... Who is that? I don't know who that is. So not too many of the cast and crew are not too many of the cast are there quite yet. A lot of the other actors have not shot anything yet in Texas. I think what they're going to do is do Texas, Utah, and then back to Texas a little bit later on. From what we've seen from the behind the scenes sort of extra opportunities and stuff like that as well. Here we got another shot of Pilate there. There's Peter knocking on someone's door. It looks like, is this Phoebe's house? Can't really tell. This could also be Mark's house. Maybe they're trying to get back up into the upper room. Here's all the temple guard as they're bringing Jesus into Caiaphas' house. We got a slap there from Claudia. And Jonathan looking over what they're doing here. Again, this is the night that he's arrested. Now here is that plaque we talked about earlier. On this plaque, he's writing, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And so we're seeing that written down right here in front of Pilate's desk as he writes this down. Now, in both of those other shots that we've seen of this, both the shot that we saw of Pilate writing it and this guy writing it, he's writing it left to right. So he's not writing it in Hebrew there. It could be Greek or something else.
And stop there.
We got Jesus being escorted by the temple guard here. And then here we got Pilate in his office. He's drinking something. He gets startled by something outside. He starts to get up. Here's that shot we saw before of John and Peter as they're laying down on the roof looking towards Caiaphas' palace. Now here's a really interesting shot that I talked about earlier where we see Judas and Peter actually sitting next to each other. This is pretty crazy. I wonder what these scenes are going to be like. I'm sure it's going to be intense. It's going to be hard for Peter not to just kill him, right? Let's go back real quick. Make sure I get every little bit here. We got Atticus and Zebediah. Here's where they bring the plaque in. Zebediah doesn't come in, of course. We got our fake palm trees. And there's Pilate. Push-up time. We got Claudia and Pilate. Definitely in a better mood. Not slapping him right now. And then we have Judas here. Akis kind of giving him some direction there. We've got Malchus as well as John, I think, here.
All things good. Oh, good. Thank you so much. What I do need is we're going to have you over here again. Okay. Get a few more people coming in.
Big old statue of Athena.
How am I pronouncing the name? Shahar.
Great.
Is that
Shahar is correcting Dallas on his pronunciation. It's something more like Shahar instead of Shahar, like we all say, but it's easier to say that in English.
close enough?
Very good.
Shahar. Okay.
Shahar. There's Claudia. Claudia in her bed, of course, is going to be important. She's going to be dreaming, having some pretty intense dreams about Jesus. Maybe that's where we're going to see Jesus wearing that crown that we saw him with earlier, potentially. And here we see Pilate freaking out. He grabs a handkerchief and screams into it, which is pretty intense. Again, we're seeing Jesus being transported, having the wrist irons on. We see him here coming into the doorway. Now, remember, again, all of this is just a facade. That's not the actual set. They're just walking into nothingness, basically. And they're just going to shoot that from the other side. Here we've got... Oh, nice. So they've already shot Jesus in front of Pilate. So that's what this is here. We've got Jesus arrested in front of Pilate here in his room. Maybe that's the scene that we saw before of him like kind of sitting up in his chair as they bring Jesus in. That would be quite interesting. Yeah, of course, we see Jesus bounce around during this night. So he goes to Caiaphas, then Pilate, then Herod Antipas, and he kind of bounces around all over the place, and nobody wants to deal with him, right? The Jews want him dead, or at least the Pharisees do, the Sadducees. However, everybody else is like, what's wrong with this guy? You know, he's done nothing wrong. And we see Atticus here. Here is the placard that Pilate is handing over. And then here we get a continuation of that Peter scene that we saw earlier, him wearing that black overcoat, and he seems very frustrated. Maybe this is right before he talked to Judas. Malchus in front of Caiaphas's compound here, as well as John over there to the left. Yeah. Now here, okay, so... Interesting. Okay, so here we see Jonathan, who we knew before was kind of a part of this. We knew that he was part of this scene, but they didn't show the whole thing because it was a vertical video, right? This is the portion where Jonathan is holding that that crown. So he's holding the crown of Herod Antipas, I believe, here. I mean, that's exactly what it looks like here, even as I go back and forth. Definitely looks like the crown of Herod Antipas. So maybe this is part of Claudia's dream, that she sees Jesus as king and that he's wearing the Jewish king's crown. And maybe that's part of why Pilate writes Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Maybe that's why he writes that. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, super interesting. We get Pilate here sitting at his table. Is he sitting with someone there? Can't tell. Not in that moment. And then John going over some scripts. Then we've got Peter and John. John's going to, of course, invite him into the courtyard. And then Jesus again in front of Pilate here. And Judas. There's Joanna. Looks like she's just holding like an overcoat for her. Looks like a similar one to that she's had before when she was hiding, when she was coming from John's prison, whenever she was coming from his execution. Looks like the same one that she was wearing before. So maybe she's just getting out of here because Pilate's coming home. That's a possibility. And again, we theorize that this should be episode 5 here. Jesus again walking down. Judas walking down with them. And then Zebediah.
Good, cut. Good.
All right, really cool stuff. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are so far on the BTS of The Chosen Season 6. Of course, we are going to get into all of this all together as well, so keep that in mind. We will get into all of it every single week that they are filming. We will do an update on what's going on and kind of keep you guys going along. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and of course, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.